My name is Courtney Dowdy, and I will be discussing the movie Moana. Moana was just released toward the end of 2016, making it one of Disney's most recent animated pictures. Moana is also revolutionary because of the culture and role of women portrayed. Moana is probably the most authentic portrayal of the Polynesian culture in anything Disney has ever done. This brings a light to a very underrepresented as well as unique culture that many people don't know much about at all. The role of women is also extremely improved in this movie because of the fact that there is absolutely no love interest mentioned for anyone whatsoever. The main character is a strong, independent female role, which is a very healthy inspiration for young girls these days. Anyone you ask could probably tell you some fond memory they have of a Disney movie growing up, or how Disney movies were so important to their childhood. This is because Disney is a huge inspiration for young children, and has been ever since Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs came out back in the 1930s. Now, the original Disney movies depicted princesses who were, for the most part, Caucasian, with a few exceptions much later on. And all of these princesses were typically very vulnerable women who really didn't do much except sit around waiting for love and a lot of housework. So Moana is a complete 180 from all of those original Disney movies, both romantically and culturally. Now, although Moana is completely made up by Disney, Maui is not. The story of Maui actually comes from ancient Polynesian mythology, and according to an article from Decider.com, depending on which story of Maui you're looking up, it could vary slightly, but overall, he was a very powerful being who had a lot of influence in creating the islands of the Pacific and the lifestyle that the Polynesians still live to this day. Disney decided that they liked that story of Maui so much and wanted to make a movie about a Polynesian princess, so they decided to take Maui's backstory and put him in a new situation with Moana. And while the character of Moana is entirely made up, the word Moana is not. In multiple Polynesian languages, Moana means ocean, and the ocean, as well as nature and water in general, is extremely important to all of the cultures of the Pacific Islands. They view the water as sort of the lifeblood of the community. So that is why they decided not only to make the name of the main character Moana, but they also decided that the ocean would essentially be a character of its own. Now, while the story of Maui comes from ancient mythology, this movie is extremely important today in the 21st century. It's important, firstly, culturally, because the Polynesian culture is so unique and interesting, but so underrepresented around the world. Not many people know about it. So Disney decided that they were going to put their culture out there, and now more people will be interested in learning about the Polynesian culture simply because of a Disney princess movie. It is also extremely important today socially because, like I mentioned, Disney movies are so inspirational and influential for young children, so being able to see the role of a female not having to worry about love and instead being very strong and bold and motivated is extremely important for young girls, so that when they grow up, they decide that they don't want to grow up to be like a princess who sits around waiting for love, but instead yearns for adventure and a true purpose in life. As it's explained in an article from Bustle.com, the reason this movie is such a healthy inspiration is that Moana is determined to complete a task, and while no love interest is mentioned at all, the movie never suffers for it. In the movie, Moana realizes that she has been chosen to complete a task, and if completed, this will essentially save her entire village. So as soon as she realizes that this is what she has to do, she is absolutely determined to get it done, and never has to worry about finding the right guy or who she's going to love the rest of her life. That's not what she's worried about. She's a strong, independent woman who's only worried about saving her village. This will motivate girls to be motivated, self-sufficient women instead of sitting around waiting for love. The other important part of this, when it comes to the role of women, is that she's not a nobody. She is the daughter of the chief, which essentially makes her a princess. And I know, especially for me and for most young girls, they want to grow up to be a princess, not just kind of a cool villager. So the fact that she is a princess makes her that much more inspirational for young girls, which means that they are going to be inspired to become just like her, which is determined and strong-willed, which is exactly what we need to be teaching young girls to be. As I mentioned, Moana makes leaps and bounds past almost any other Disney movie that they have produced because of the authentic cultural depiction, as well as the extremely improved role of women portrayed in the movie. Moana is truly a one-of-a-kind so far, and this should hopefully set a trend and get the ball rolling on Disney creating more movies that are going to depict other cultures and prove that love isn't the only thing that makes life worth living. And it is definitely a huge stepping stone past both Mulan and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.